I hand it over to Martin, who will just say a couple of words. Today, we will focus on functionality for creating IMF blocks and terminals. This is building on the previous demo where we showed the functionality for doing this for IMF attribute types. So with that said, you can go ahead, Martin.
Yes, thank you, Fredrik. I'll start by sharing my screen. If I can take my entire screen, I'm switching a bit back and forth. Yeah. Yes. I will be presenting this new features of adding an IMF block and an IMF terminal today. It's going to be maybe a bit more technical than it could have been. I would like to show a bit about what's behind the curtains. So I don't know if all of you were on the previous demo, but if you were, you can see it came two new buttons here, add IMF block and add IMF terminal. I believe actually this button is also new because last time I just navigated to the URL. So let me just share this URL here. So that's something I can do if anyone wants to follow. So keep in mind that keep in mind that unless you have a PCA account, you won't be able to log in. Even if you signed up on the main pages with the Google account, you can't log in unless you have a PCA account. But you can still play around with this user interface a bit. So even though I mentioned block and terminal, I would also like to show some new features on the IMF attribute view. So I think this attribute is a bit interesting concept that maybe it's not completely mature yet, but where the blocks have references to other blocks and terminals and a list of attributes, they are kind of really well founded in the IMF land. But they make use of IMF attribute, and in the way we propose to create an IMF attribute, these will actually be the link to a bit to the IDO, which I think is really exciting. If we can make the two standards, IMF and IDO, work together in a nice way, and that's what I want to show here. So the first thing I want to talk about is this predicate that's part of the IMF attribute. Predicate here is an IMF term. I think physical quantity is a better name. That's the IDO term for what goes here. And it kind of specifies the range where these attributes are supposed to point to. That's some physical quantity for those of you who know IDO. Here we should be able to search for all the physical quantity we know of, which is 0 at the moment. And we have on our to-do list to add the user interface where we can propose new physical concept if the one in our library is not complete yet. But for now, we haven't that user interface, but we do have an RDF API where you can actually post RDF data if you have the user account I talked about earlier, and you can update existing RDF. We hope this doesn't get used that much, and we can write general queries. So I would like now to upload a unit of measure ontology that is on PCA's web page, which indeed defines a lot of physical quantities. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, a physical quantity is, for example, force or weight or pressure, those kind of things. So yeah, I will try to navigate it using our main page, see how good our page has become if I'm able to find this. So this is a library, and This is the PLM I would like to upload. Let's see here. And I want to upload a unit of measure ontology. This is a turtle file representing this ontology. So when I'm uploading this, to this, if everything now works together, I should be able to search in my user interface. We have multiple Fuseki behind our endpoints, but for now we only use a single Fuseki, which is one we named main. So this interface kind of just proxies all our triple stores, which in our case are only Apache and Fusekis. See if this works. It would be really nice. For a one, as I mentioned, you need to be logged in to use this endpoint. Yeah, 201 success. And I will just refresh this page and see if we have gotten some new terms here. Indeed, we had a lot of terms before, but this search is limited to only physical quantities. If I choose pressure now, this should unlock this UM search, which now is limited to only search for a unit of measure related to my physical quantity. But this I actually haven't tested before because I believe that there are some datum that's defined in the core ontology. So I'm actually a bit unsure what will happen now when I'm searching for these. Yeah. Okay. So it's enough to use the unit of measure ontology to get the list of unit of measure. We can see what we have here: Newton per square millimeter. It sounds like a pressure unit of measure. Inch of water. Yeah, I think it's really fascinating to dig through this this ontology, which is written by DNV, and I would like to give a shout out there because I think this ontology is really well written and it's really useful, and it was easy for me as a developer to create this user interface where I can select the physical quantity. And by that, limiting the amount of unit of measure I could be able to search for. This is a feedback we have gotten that we shouldn't be able to use any unit of measure. I shouldn't be able to use centimeters, for instance, to define pressure. And I believe it would be a bit harder to use the ontology to limit the search, but that was pretty straightforward. And I think this ontology was a lot of concepts were defined, so it was a bit exciting to use this. Let's use inch of water because I found that fascinating. And here we have the same view that I presented last time, where we can select these kind of qualifiers, like we want to have minimum pressure and maximum pressure. And we also have some combinatorics going on there, that if we select from one of these other categories, say design and operating, we then kind of multiply these together and write out the attributes like this. So let's try that. We'll get some other messages here, I think, which I will resolve one after another. We need to be logged in for this to work. I'm logged in as my WebStep user. And again, we have some validation. This is on the server side. We need to write change justification. We'll see how long this validation lives. Testing inch of water. Yeah, some justification for why we need to have this. Yeah, and here we have uploaded these new terms, and they can now be accessible on this URL here. The host name is, of course, not correct as we use different hosts, but once we host this on the postsuccessor.org, these links will be clickable. So yeah, let's add the terminal as well. I find it's a lot of concept that needs to be discussed in the attribute section, but the terminals, I believe, are more straightforward. Output terminal, and this smart as an output, and it's the aspect where it's in, and then we can search for this attribute here. So what we need to define to create the new terminal, and if we imagine we have some kind of pressure limitation, that it shouldn't be below this limit, that it shouldn't be above this. I'm just making things up here. I don't know how these things really work. We can select these terms that we just created in the last view. Yeah. And we should be able to submit the terminal here as well. I will write something that made me find it in the next view. Okay, we need description as well. Yes, and we created a terminal, and this can then go into our block. Yeah. And we have the same here. And we can have this output terminal, and yeah, we can also, this is the has parts. This is an IMF concept that they decide, yeah, which blocks are part of this blocks. This is kind of the way IMF breaks down. And again, if you want details about IMF and how that's supposed to work, maybe there are other people who know more than me. The same is true for IDO. We just try to read the standard and see if we can create some sort of user interface that will let us construct the building blocks we need to share information about the EMF and IDO. Yeah, blocks are optional, so just write the justification and we can submit the new block. That's it. That's the three new endpoints, and they are wrapping the endpoints here, where we can post attribute terminals and blocks. So this is more like a reference implementation of how a front end could look like. We imagine that other organization will use these endpoints and submit the IMF blocks, terminals, and attribute they need through our REST interface, our HTTP API. I think that's it. Can imagine there are some questions.
Are there any questions or comments? Those are welcome as well.
Yeah, no, I think it seems promising, guys. It's a good start. Of course, yeah, we might be in a situation where we need to bulk load, but we will see how this goes.
Yeah, the bulk loading. So yeah, the idea is that we would really like when we extend the libraries that we are the one that coined the IDs of the new blocks and terminals. Yeah. So if you're going to bulk upload, then you need to somehow create a block that references blocks that haven't yet been created. So
Yeah.
that's where we imagine, like, first you have IDO as the foundation, and then you need to upload reference term, then attributes, and then the terminal and blocks at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of discussion around how we exactly should do this.
Yeah.
Any other comments, feedback, suggestions for improvement? Is it understandable? If it's not, it's completely okay to say nope. Since there are no comments, I will take that as a yes, it's all understandable.
Since there's no comment, I would like to show a small thing at the end here, where this query that we use to find the unit of measure. So this is actually a Sparkle query that runs behind the curtains. And in this example, we have the pressure concept, which is have this ID 3596, and we have the applicable unit of measure that we use to do this. And our endpoints provide this general query if you are logged in, so we are able to test these queries using code like this. And then we get the list of all the applicable unit of measure. So that's how we are able to give that these suggestions in the ADA. I just forgot that, so I took that at the end.
Sounds very good. Seems very good. So
I think it's really exciting that we are able to work with the ontologies that DMD has created. So there's not that much code I have written to make this work. It's like some of the logic lies in this ontology, and this is, as I understand it, the really simple part of IDO and PLM, the thing that relates physical quantity to unit of measure. So I believe there's a lot of potential here, even though I just managed to make use of this small part. And I can recommend everybody to search for like strange physical quantities like electrical field strength, and see what you measure that in. That's measured in volt per meter. I find that fascinating. I'm not sure about what this is. I remember some stuff for my physics in high school, but
very good.
This is beyond me, and I think it's interesting.
Good.
Yeah, don't spend time on it unless you need it.
I've been searching for all of these now. I think it's really...
Yeah, you can probably print it and read it during the night as a night lecture.
Yeah, I will.
Instead of counting sheep, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, it's cool.
If there are any questions and comments that anyone would like to bring up outside of the meeting, you can just contact us directly, and then we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, what you just went through now, is it documented anywhere? So as a process?
You mean the process of creating, for example, an IMF attribute?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that in itself is documented, but the endpoint itself is documented in the API, and we have on purpose prioritized the development as of now, because we view that or value that as the most important part, in short. So documentation will follow, but it's not the highest priority right now because we need to get it going, basically. But of course, we want to be available to help anyone that wants to try it out and make use of it.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, just an applause.
Yeah.
Coming your way. Very good.
Yeah.
It's useful with these sessions. It's good for us to have a place where we can try to understand what we're doing. So very, very useful.
Thank you, Helge.
There is one hand popping up here.
Yeah.
I think
Sånn Myrvang, was it?
yes.
It was just me. I just tried to give an applause. So I think this is very good. Very good what you show here, and yeah, it's very important the way you are working, and with this kind of sprint tactic to show things early on and get feedback. So and also I hope we can connect even more content to your endpoints and yeah, what you're showing.
We absolutely hope so too. Get more content in there. That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's it. Then everybody has 6 minutes of free time.
Yes.
Have a great weekend.
Same. Have a great weekend.
Very good.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.